What's up, Comic Geeks? Welcome to issue 91 of the Script Heroes podcast. I'm Katie.
And I'm Joseph, and today we're going to be talking about the all-new Batman issue 1. I believe the first one in 9 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Wild.
Batgirl issue 11. Cruel Universe issue 2. Sisterhood, A Hyde Street Story issue 3. TMNT issue 11. And White House Robot Romance issue 1.
Big boy. Our first distillery book on the podcast.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. First one we talked about on the pod.
That's right. So be sure you hit subscribe to add us to your pull list, and we are going to jump right in to Batman.
Batman number 1. The writer on this relaunch is Matt Fraction, who's worked on Hawkeye, Iron Man, and Sex Criminals. The artist is still Jorge Jimenez, who's been the Batman artist for, I think, the last 3 runs.
So long, yeah.
Also worked on Summer of Superman.
With the brief break when it went to Batman Hush.
Hush 2, yes.
Yeah.
Justice League and Super Sons. The color says Tomei Mori, and the letter is Clayton Cowles. Katie.
Yeah.
Talk to me about issue 1, and particularly talk to me about the responders, a very important part of
that's in multiple that progressive ad is in multiple books that we read this week. So Batman number 1, I think, is probably one of the most, high stakes books that you can be assigned in the comic world.
To touch there, can I derail us immediately for a second?
Immediately,
because a friend mentioned this to me, and this was something that I agree with, and I thought was quite interesting, and I think it's partially due to Hattush just having happened. Did this feel, not the actual book, but the launch of it, a little underwhelming for Batman number 1?
Fully agree. That was immediately what I was going to touch on as well. Because 1, this doesn't feel like a Batman number 1. The preamble I was going to give was going to, be that super high stakes thing to make something a Batman number 1. What an incredible burden.
Ever, right?
Yeah. It's such a high stakes thing because it's it's fucking Batman. Everyone has thoughts about Batman, and a Batman number 1 is going to be theoretically a fresh take on Batman. Even if it's not a completely new change or anything, because he's still the same character. You're still coming out with this number 1 that's supposed to say, hey, this is one of the flagship books of DC Comics, and we're welcoming you in.
Yep. And also go read that number 600 and whatever that's also coming out this
right. But 1, it didn't feel like DC themselves leaned into that at all. There were, ads in other DC books, but not a lot leading up to it. I feel like they've pushed DC KO more than they've pushed their new Batman number 1.
Yeah.
And it leads me to just question why they decided to renumber.
It's such a weird time, too, because you got the Hattush bump. That was, honestly, a bigger deal than this, it feels like, in terms of, comic attention. And I don't know if the sales figures reflect that. The blind bags for Batman number 1 might, inflate that. But yeah, it felt weirdly placed. I think you probably should have waited at least a year from when Hattush ended if you wanted to renumber and make it a big deal, which Batman number 1 should probably be a pretty damn big deal.
And my pet theory is that because they also they pushed so hard the Summer of Superman. So my theory as to why they did it now is because they were if we get a bunch of people hooked into DC Comics with Superman over the summer, because there has been, I believe, gangbusters readership for Superman. I'm pretty sure.
Also, if you remember, when we were still doing, the more frequent news, when we covered the, Batman number 1 happened, Superman was supposed to go back to number 1 as well when that leaked. So it's interesting to see that didn't end up happening.
Yeah. And so my thought is they're if we can get a bunch of people interested in Superman, and then we can give them a good jumping on point with Batman, that makes a lot of that makes a lot of synergistic sense to me.
Yeah, yeah.
But then they didn't put nearly as much behind this as they did the Summer of Superman, which would be hard because they put so much behind Summer of Superman. But I'm like, there was no effort put in. I don't know if it was a sense of like, oh, a Batman #1 is going to sell itself. But I feel like if they were going to do this, it also, we obviously dropped Hush like 2 issues in.
Yeah. But
I
it's
don't
still
know if,
going.
yeah,
Like,
is
that's why I said, and also pick up this super high number of Batman. There is more Batman coming out this month. The books are overlapping. There are 2 issues to come out still in Hattush, and that's just the first 6 issues of Hattush, and then the second 6 issues are happening in like a mini-series or whatever after the gap. So,
and like, first question, why not just do Hush 2 as a miniseries to begin with? Like, it didn't have to be.
well, because I think the original one was in the book, and they want to do this one in the book, and it did draw a lot of attention to the book, and it's proof that you don't have to renumber to draw attention to the main book.
Yeah.
Which is what makes this such a weird decision.
Yeah. So, and then on top of that, like, outside of all of the editorial and
Yeah, dude, we're
marketing
finally gonna actually
decisions.
start the book that we're supposed to review.
Yeah. I didn't find it to be a super compelling Batman #1. I think that it immediately had a lot of in-universe stuff going on where I'm like, oh, I don't have my footing for this. And
Yeah, were you aware of the Vandal Savage commissioner
I
thing?
was not aware that
I
Vandal
was not.
Savage is commissioner of Gotham City. I didn't realize that Jim Gordon was a beat cop again. I didn't realize that Batman has been talking to a holographic Alfred, and I can only imagine if part of the draw of this #1 is to bring in new readership, they might not even know that Alfred's dead. So that would be
Yeah.
even more confusing.
Well, my thought is the Alfred thing. I don't know if you. The only thing I had looked up was the Vandal Savage thing. I don't know that the Alfred thing is an established. Like, my guess is that that's a Matt Fraction edition.
It feels like a Matt Fraction edition.
And also, I was actually going back and forth throughout the reading. I was unsure if it was meant to be like a holographic Alfred or if he was just like hallucinating.
No, I think it's certainly some sort of like hologram or AI thing.
But it didn't like do anything AI, which is why I was unsure.
Full mask off, I didn't like the Alfred thing. I'm like, you know what? You decided to kill Alfred.
Yeah, that was my least favorite thing in the book. I was like, I don't know why. It felt, honestly, to me, it felt more of like, we need Alfred here because it's this new #1 for people. So we're going to do it in a really weird way.
And like, if you were going to do that, you should have gone like full AI. Like, you should have made him like the voice of the car or something. Like,
yeah, but it's still like a weird thing to just like throw in there because Alfred's been dead for so long now that it's like not really logical for it to happen now unless you. Anyway, neither here nor there. That was my least favorite.
If you were going to use it, maybe use it as like a framing device to set up this new Batman. I also think it was an absolutely bonkers decision to make one of the first like kind of ideological statements from Batman be people can't change, because it's like, then what's the point of sending people to Arkham, right? Like,
yeah, it does feel pretty
the bedrock of this Batman.
Yeah, to Batman. I feel like it's hard to justify holding both the position of people can't change and I will never kill anybody because everybody deserves a chance at redemption. Like, those are pretty, I don't know, diametrically.
Yeah, that really fucking got me. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm concerned about this book. Because it was also right fucking away. Like, and it was with someone who I think can be an incredibly sympathetic Batman character in Killer Croc. Like, the fact that he can like play both sides, where you can have a Killer Croc who's like, just a full meat bag for Batman to go up against, but you can also play it in a way of like, oh, this horrible thing happened to him. Like, he's someone who's down on his luck, and especially with Absolute Batman going right now and Croc being an incredibly sympathetic and central character there. Like, I am not in well, Killer Croc is just an animal, and like he's a bad and evil monster because of that state of mind with the way that the current Batman mythos is framed. And light spoilers, there's a connection towards the end of the the end of the issue But it's like, one, if you were gonna have that happen, why set up Batman with his like people never change, like Waylon Jones and Killer Croc aren't even the same person, and like why have it happen in one issue? Like, it felt like,
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this thing. Every single issue of this series is going to be essentially a one shot. They're
which
all
is frankly good. I like that. This didn't feel like a complete one shot.
no. The resolution was a little flat to me as well. I do think I enjoyed this issue a bit more than you did.
And I feel I should say one of the reasons that I come in hot is because I have very strong feelings about Batman. And like, these were just really big dings for me. But
Yeah,
otherwise, I did like, I mean, come on, Jorge fucking Jimenez, man.
yeah.
Like, I'm never gonna
Right,
look at
man.
him draw a page of anything and say, wow, I wish I didn't look at that.
Yeah. No, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous looking book. Um, I feel like I liked a lot of the maybe not the decisions, but like the actual like physical right. Like it's a
Mhm.
book that feels very good to like go through pacing
Yes,
wise and everything. Um, I do like the idea of the single issue plots, and I felt like
me too.
you know the way that was paced out in this issue. Though was this slightly over? I feel like this was slightly more than 24 pages.
I don't think it was
Like I feel like
actually
it had,
oversized. I think it just has an absolute ass ton of ads at the back.
that's
Because
fair.
it
I don't
also
know. I
has the
felt like
preview for
it felt to me like it was like
DCKO.
a like slightly over, like a 32 pager maybe, but no,
I can take
maybe
a
it
look
wasn't.
while you
Um,
talk.
yeah, no, I thought it was a very fun issue. Jorge Jimenez does just phenomenal work throughout. You did hit on my like big gripes. The Alfred thing was my least favorite thing in the book. I felt it was so unnecessary, and I don't like that like it was never really addressed or explained in any sort of major way, which is why I was sitting there and I'm like, AI? Figment of his imagination. Which one?
24
Um,
pages.
24 pages. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I,
Standard.
I, I feel like a lot of the Batmaning of it was very entertaining. I liked,
Sure, sure.
a lot of those sequences, even if the very ending and resolution with Croc was maybe a little bit flat. But yeah, I don't know.
The thing is,
It's an
I feel like
interesting.
the resolution with Croc was better to me than the preamble with Croc.
I like the preamble with Croc.
That's fair.
Let me, I also, man, look at that Croc.
So gorgeous. Again, Jorge fucking Jimenez. Um,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
maybe
but they
it's,
also did what's
groundwork
like
and
my least
stuff,
favorite
but
thing ever, which is like exposition through newscaster.
yep.
It's like one of
We
my
talked
my
about
big
that
comic book gripe.
because it comes up quite often in the very first issues put out by each of the Image founders. Uh,
Yes.
so go ahead and check out our video from this past weekend on that, and we can talk a lot about newscaster talking
Yeah,
heads.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to hit on Batman before we move on to the Batgirl?
No, no. I mean, I think it was a rough start for me because of just a few big things, but I feel like all the little things I actually did quite like.
Yeah,
Um,
no, that I feel the
and
same. It was
also,
like as I was explaining it, I was sitting there, I'm like, it's weird because I know I enjoyed reading it, but I don't have like a lot of big picture things to say,
yeah,
about why. I think it's a fun read, which I think is honestly a little bit of a Matt Fraction because I feel like when we read Hawkeye, I felt very similarly. Where it's like I actually dislike a lot of the things that were done in this, but weirdly enjoyed the reading experience of the book.
Matt Fraction's an odd man. He pulls it off. I
Uh,
do want to say I do quite like this Batman costume design. So I believe it's a new
yeah, I
design
didn't want to mention it
for.
because I feel like people have gone so over the
Have they?
top with like the love of it. Yeah, where it's like I feel like you throw blue on a Batman costume in modern day DC comics, and people will be like,
Honestly, I'm the same way. I love blue on a Batman costume. But what I
So
love even
I
more
didn't want to go there.
is
So probably
purple.
everybody went
Bring
off.
back the rebirth Batman design. That might be a little
In any
controversial.
case, let's
Um, yeah, how do you feel about this new Batman? What are you looking for in a new Batman series? And did this meet those expectations? or fall a little flat? Let us know down below. And we're going to keep talking about Batgirl. Batgirl, number 11. This is coming to us from writer Tate Bromble of Christopher Chaos, House of Slaughter, and Green Lantern Dark. The artist is Takashi Miyazawa of Miss Marvel, Spider-Gwen, and Mech Cadet U. The colorist is Mike Spicer, and the letterer is Tom Napolitano. Jay, it's the end of our little mini arc, the Three Swords. How you feel about the conclusion to this arc for Batgirl?
I think Takeshi Miyazawa was given a lot of rad action in this issue.
Oh,
Taylor
yeah.
Straight. Wu Bing's like crazy blood powers look awesome.
Her blood bending.
Like, yeah. But not really blood bending in the way that, blood bending is blood bending.
No.
Literal blood bending. It's really rad. There's a lot of fantastic action sequences. It looks really, really great. And it keeps you excited. Oh, yes, that panel is amazing.
Yeah, Cass's mask is being like ripped apart by these weapons made of blood.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
I remember when I was reading, I saw that panel. I was like, oh my god, that's badass. I love that. That is such a good, like, distinguishing Cass panel.
Oh,
For
yeah.
her to have. Yeah, we've been in like a little bit of like a standstill in this book, in the sense that we've had like 3 issues set in 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think is definitely a little bit testing out. It's kind of anime-esque, and like the one fight lasting like 10.5 years. So technically it was multiple fights, just in the same location, I guess. So yeah, I'm glad to be at the end of that. Because I think that it had gone on a little too long for me. As always, Tate Bromble writes a really, really good cast. Cast's characterization is always really, really strong, even though she doesn't always say a ton, which is, I think a very good.
Which is part of her strong characterization.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a note of a good cast writer. I'm still not a huge fan of Jay Tiger.
Yeah.
And like the extra sibling of it all, and I'm not super excited that he's like, seemingly going to be a part of the book moving forward.
Same.
I don't know. He needs a deal. He needs kind of, something to make him a little bit more interesting, other than just like, I idolize my sister and I want to be a hero like her. So that's my down note, but I do think it was a very entertaining issue, and I think I'm more excited for the story that is set up to come than I was for like this little arc.
See, my big kind of gripe with this issue is that when we got the setup for the Three Swords, I think we were both pretty excited about it, because it like was this cool kind of idea of these like trials coming to Cass, but then they really got kind of compressed down because it was across 3 issues, and the first issue was a lot of setup, and it had all of the Tenji stuff in there, so a lot of like emotional stuff that didn't have to do with the Three Swords of it all. And I almost wish that we dealt with just like the first sword in this first arc. Absolutely. And then we got to have like the chase from Wu Bing, the second sword. And then we got the reveal of the third sword at the end of the next arc, or at the start of the next arc or something. So I feel like this arc had a lot of promise to it that it just didn't have the space to deliver on. Yeah. Which is a bit unfortunate, because I think that one of the things that we've talked about a lot with Tate Bromble's writing is that they have so many like good ideas for Cass, for Lady Shiva, and it stinks to not be able to see those fully realized. Like especially since the first swordsman is dead, like fully dead, and I don't quite. I don't know that the second sword is going to be a threat anymore, is what I will say. If you catch my drift. Without spoilers, of course.
I don't know. Dropping without spoilers after that makes it without spoilers.
No, it was no spoilers. No spoilers. But yeah, so I think that I'm really bummed that we didn't get to explore those characters more, and that we got kind of bottle episoded here. because I think that also hurt Tenji in the fact that he didn't
I
have
will say,
much to do.
yeah, it's um, it's kind of the opposite problem of a bottle episode because it's actually taken up 3 episodes. Um,
Yes, a bottle trifecta.
like we have been confined to one location, but for much longer than just one
A
episode.
little bottle arc.
Yeah, which is I think a little bit more distracting for like a
Agreed.
series moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, like like you said, Tapeworm has a lot of really good ideas for cast, and I feel like has a good picture of like how he wants the like larger cast world or like the people who are connected to cast to function.
Mhm.
Um, I will say we get a like a League of Assassins, League of Shadows,
Yes.
shout out in
Yeah.
here. I think quite interesting because I don't know the last time that like well obviously Nissa showed up earlier in this series, but I
Yeah.
don't know the last time that like another book has really used the League of Shadows or Assassins that I've read in a
Me
while.
either.
So
Yeah.
they kind of haven't been I think a big thing. Well, I guess technically they're happening in the Absolute Universe in like a weird
That
way.
doesn't
But
count.
yeah, I'm excited for this book to seemingly be planning to build back up the League of
Mhm.
Shadows, League of Assassins, so they can exist again as like a thing for creators of DC to use. So if anything, I think
Yeah.
that's actually my most positive takeaway from this issue because I think
Love.
that's a
But yeah, how do you feel, dear listeners, about the expanding cast of the Bat universe? Like, this isn't technically like a Batman expansion, but it is a Batgirl expansion, who's already an expansion of kind of an expansion of Batgirl. Like
yes.
she is a few degrees removed, which kind of creates a space for a new circle that maybe doesn't completely conflict with the one that we've got expanding out from Batman. Let us know how you feel down in the comments below, and we are going to move right along to EC's Cruel Universe.
Cruel Universe issue 2. We have 3 stories in this book. I have an alien in my basement, ham radio, and for art's sake, we each gonna pick one to go over, but just to hit you with the creative teams really quickly. The first story was writer Dave Wilgaz with artist Riley Rossimo and colorist Inaki Azapizu. The second story is writer Melissa Flores with artist Claire Rowe and colorist Jordi Belair. Third story is writer Chris Condon with artist Sammy Cavelli and colorist Nick Filardi, and the letter across the entire book are by Richard Starkings and Comic Crafts Tyler Smith. Katie, I'm going to throw it to you to pick your favorite
Yeah,
story, but I want to say off the bat, I feel like start to finish, this has been the most consistent EC anthology, in my opinion.
I think so too. But I think also important to note is it doesn't have a vintage story.
Yeah,
Like
that was
it
super
doesn't have one from the vault, which I found really disappointing.
I wonder if it's
Because
just an issue 1 thing. It's only just the issue 1s.
that's my worry. Because I thought it was like a really good idea to
Yeah.
reprint those as well alongside these other stories. And
Great.
I think that was a big part of what made me excited about the series. So I'm like, yes, I want to read these new stories, but I also was not like I've started reading a lot more now because the first the first number ones of these got me really excited about like the kind of pulpy horror and pulpy sci-fi.
Yeah.
So I went and I bought a bunch of old EC comics. And I was like, these are really fun.
Good. Yeah.
So I'm incredibly bummed that they don't have them in here because I'm like, oh, it was
Yeah.
really nice to think that I was gonna have like a curated special of these like these are some of
Yeah.
the best ones that they've ever done. So
I
I'm
agree.
yeah. But that aside,
Yes.
I would love to talk about. I think I'm gonna talk about. I have an alien in my basement.
That was my
Um,
favorite as well.
yeah.
So I'll go to the second
So
one.
that's the one that has Riley Rossmo's art in it, which we loved Riley Rossmo's art all throughout The Moon Was Following Us with Daniel Warren Johnson. And I think that this is like in the same vein for me, where it has these kind of like quiet character moments, but then it gets to do some like really fun, like imaginative things.
Fun is such an odd word to use for those imaginative things.
Yeah. I think so. Um
Yeah,
See,
I
I
feel
think
like
that
this
this
is
is one
something
that
that's short
had
story, but the like things, the spoilers are such things that you don't want people to miss out on when it comes to reading EC stories. But
it's tricky with short
yeah,
stories like this for sure. Um, but yeah, I think that this one it was as I think short and especially horror things are, it was a little on the nose with like its messaging. Like the man who has an alien in his basement, I think was well done until he wasn't. I was like,
yeah,
oh, this is like really, this is a really compelling character. And then it like, the dial just went a little too far. And I'm like, oh, I
yeah,
feel
I
like it
agree.
would have been more effective if it was a little more dialed back. Um,
Yeah,
not his actions, but the way that he explains himself. So that was like my one gripe with it. But other than that, I feel like it had the hallmarks of a good kind of like short sci-fi horror story where you get this tense setup and you don't know exactly where it's going, and then you get a good kind of reveal at the end, and then on top of that reveal you also get a little twist at the end. So it had a lot of good mechanics in there.
fully agree. This one is such a good like 1-2 punch. Instead of it just
Hmm.
being like the one turn you usually get at the end of this one has like a pivot into then like the full turn, which is like
Hmm.
really really great.
Yes.
Um, because it hits you twice and it's short time. I think it's the shortest of the stories, and maybe the last one is also short, but I feel like the middle one's longer. But maybe that's just the way that they read.
Weirdly, I
Um,
was gonna say I thought the middle one was the shortest.
really, no, the middle one was because they had such little text on every page, and yet it did. Like I feel like
That's fair.
it was a fast read, but I feel like it felt long. Anyway, not important. Um, no, I agree with you. I think that the first one, Alien in My Basement. Yeah, right. I have an alien in my basement.
Yep.
Was fantastic. I agree with you. I think that the character stuff was pushed a little bit maybe hard. Like I think they had hit what they needed to hit, and then they just kept hitting it, which is
Yeah.
like where you kind of go a little bit far. But again, it's kind of excusable in anthology stories. I think especially when they do other things well. There have been certain EC stories we've read where it's been like, I don't think that the story was strong enough to where you keep hitting these character beats is a bit too much. But yeah, I loved it. It was great.
But
But yeah,
which would you like to talk
yeah,
about?
I'm gonna hit Ham Radio.
Ham
I
radio.
Radio was very fun. I think that it had a slight issue of taking a little bit too long to really place you with like fully what was going on. But that leads into its turn because it's instead of it being like, oh, you know what's going on, and then it takes like a 180, it's more of it keeps you unsure of what's going on until it tells you what's going on. So it's a
Mhm.
little bit of an evolution of the format. But I still really loved the reveal. I thought the artwork throughout was fantastic. And I thought our main character was very like, I don't want to. There's a reason I don't want to say sympathetic, and so I'm not. But there was a good way to like draw you into our main character and make you empathize with him
Mhm.
throughout the story. So yeah, I enjoyed Ham Radio.
Yeah, I think the setup for ham radio was my favorite part of it. Like they did a I loved the concept of like the interference in this broadcast that's supposed to be brainwashing you, and like the kid being able to accidentally kind of stumble onto that and
Tune.
then start kind of hacking into it. And I like the idea of that being done with like super analog technology. I think that has a really good vibe to it. Um and yeah, like you said, I just feel like it might have dragged a little bit, um, which might be why it felt like the longest one to me. But yeah,
So that
across the board, this was one of our stronger showings from the EC collected little anthology books. How do you feel about anthology books? Do you want EC to focus on the old stuff, or are you happy to have the new stuff take center stage now? Not that
it
it
sounded
wasn't
like the
center
police
stage.
are coming to arrest them for not putting a
They
an old
are.
one in this one.
Accurate. I called them.
As-
But we have just a few more books to talk about. So, speaking of the police, we're going to go talk about a book full of murder. It's Sisterhood, a Hyde Street story. Sisterhood, a Hyde Street story, number 3. This comes to us from writer Maytal Shute of It Happened on Hyde Street Devour, and artist Layla Lays of Night Terror's Catwoman, Alters, and It Happened on Hyde Street Devour. The colorist is Alex Sinclair, and the letterer is Rob Lee. Jay,
yes.
we really like Sisterhood so far.
Yes.
How you feel
This
about
is
issue 3?
this is so good. It's insane. This issue is phenomenal. It finally starts like we get a little bit of a delivery on the premise at the end of the last issue, but this issue really starts, I think, delivering on what this book is. It's unsettling. It's creepy. You really empathize with our main character, whose name
Sophie.
is Sophie. Thank you. In this issue, there's some things that feel like they're going to be very creepy, like this. That don't fully. So I just like so much of what this book is doing. The characterization's amazing. The story is really, really good. And they keep finding new ways to kind of like keep you on edge and unsure of what's going to happen. Where we end off this issue is insane. It goes. I don't want to say it goes from 0 to 100 because the end of last year is certainly not 0, but
No.
it definitely kicks into a new gear by the end of this issue. And we're
Yeah.
somehow, I think this is a 6-issue mini, if I'm not mistaken.
I do not know.
I feel like it would, like, if I was reading without having that thought in my head, I'd be like, oh yeah, we're going into the final issue right now. That makes sense. But if it is a 6-issue mini, which is what I think it is, I think it's wild that we are where we are with 3 issues left, and I am very excited.
Keep in mind, there's the Hyde Street of it all.
There is the Hyde Street of it all, but this has been fairly separate.
Yes, but it had the fortune teller.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't know. This is very, very good, but I am definitely interested to see if this is 6 issues, like I feel like I have in my head. How they're gonna fill 3 more. But I love this issue. It might be my new favorite issue. Issue 1 was so good too. But yeah, it's so unsettling. Violet is like such. It's 5, so I was wrong both
5
ways.
issues.
Okay, that makes some sense. I could see being 5. Yeah, Violet's so unsettling at this point, and it's great.
So good. Yeah,
the one where she appears in the bar was like such a. I don't know, because you're so used to being like fully reflective mirror things, that got me. Where it was just the like cell
jump scare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the 2 of them together, it's such like a good core of the book, the relationship between the 2 of them, because it's something that like really, really feels like, you know, in the world plausible. Like there's this sense of resistance from Sophie. Like the end of the last issue, Violet took over Sophie's body and pushed a girl off of a balcony and killed her. And we learn in this issue.
Know that until the end of this issue. But you know, great.
I think it was pretty clear. Like
we don't know if she took a ghost form or whatever. It's not fully clear what happens until it's revealed at the end of this issue. Like, you know,
I think you were saying that the fact that she was pushed instead of she fell the way that they told
there's no reveal of the body taking over until the end of this issue when that becomes.
I guess I hadn't seen another option for it.
That's fair, but you know.
But in any case, the 2 of them together kill a girl last issue, and we get in this one that Sophie has like no memory of it, which is such a like wild thing, and it creates this really. They just keep upping the ante on why this is such like a troubling dynamic, because like in issue 1, I feel like I was filled with a sense of like, you know what, yeah, get justice for your friend, go kill all those sorority girls, but because I think that came from a place of like empathy for Sophie, it was Sophie is essentially, you know, not doing these things. Like she's not in control of these things. So I think that creates a really good escalation of Violet's kind of, you know, villainous side. Like obviously she's an antagonistic force, and clearly as outsiders it's like, okay, maybe we'll root for her a little bit, but she's clearly a villain. Like she wants Sophie to do terrible things, and is looking at it not for Sophie but for herself. But I think that they keep doing a good job every issue of upping the ante on Violet, um, and keeping that like kind of manipulation in place where like the guilt and the grief continues to keep Sophie not necessarily complicit, but she's resisting these things. Like she's horrified that the girl is dead. Um, but it keeps that tension really alive in a way that I think is really, really phenomenal and makes me love the book.
Definitely. The dynamic is so well written, and it's anytime the two of them are interacting, it's very oh, I can't think of the word. Captivating. There we go. We got there.
It is. It's very, very captivating. Just
Uh,
like being put in a metal cage. Um, so that you can pledge a sorority.
Speaking of it, they're trying to put the turtles in metal cages.
Such a good segue. Let's get talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 11. The writer is Jason Aaron of Thor, The Avengers, and Wolverine. The artist is Juan Ferrer, who's worked on Batman and Robin and Green Arrow. The letter is Sean Lee. Katie, we are in the penultimate issue of this run of this creative team.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? A lot kind of comes to a head here.
I feel a little whiplashed, if I may.
Get lashed by that whip.
I got lashed, dude.
Because of
I
how
feel like
Hale was kind of positioned in the last issue versus this one.
a little bit, and then a little bit with the way that this issue is resolved. Like on like page 3 or 4, we have a bunch of civilians coming in to be like, we actually like the turtles. Don't arrest the turtles. And I feel like there has not been any sense of that up until this exact moment.
Yeah.
Like anytime they've interacted with people out on the street, even when they've saved them, with the exception, I think, of the homeless encampment, but we don't even really see them do anything about that. I think Mikey just says that he's gonna give them a bunch of merch and stuff, or maybe we see it in passing. But there hasn't been. It's very much felt like New York City against the Turtles, and I don't think there was a good growth of public sentiment moving back in the Turtles' directions. Like we have a bunch of people come up onto the pulpit and say that the Turtles did good things for them and that they like the Turtles, but I feel like that was not something that I even considered on the radar of this book because it hasn't felt like something that's been like the brothers helping people in New York has always felt like it was more about the brothers than it was about the New Yorkers, if that makes sense.
That's fair. I want to give, because I have a slightly different angle on it, but somewhat of agreement. Because I disagree slightly because I hate when books act like public sentiment is one thing, because that is never the case.
For sure.
So I like the idea of like, oh, well, like the homeless encampment and these people the Turtles help will come speak to the Turtles. It doesn't mean all of New York's on their side. Where they go too far with it, in my opinion, is where they literally have the people who were paid to like besmirch the Turtles' names, like show up and be like, we were paid to, and I'm like, why would you turn now? Like that was not set up at all. So that's my thing where like I disagree that like in of it itself it was a bad decision, but I do think the book went too far with it to where instead of it feeling like, oh, these are the ones that like the Turtles compared to the ones that don't like the Turtles, instead it felt more like, no, just everybody now is on the Turtles side for some reason, which I think is going too far.
Yeah, and I think that it's also a shame because we read all of Mutant Nation. It was so good. We enjoyed it so much. It felt almost like an opportunity for that to come to come to fruition. It's like we saw all of these stories of these mutants and like the beautiful community that they had, and it felt like, okay, Mutant Nation's over. Maybe something from that has rippled out. Like they had the Turtles in Mutant Nation, so like even if they use the story of the Turtles in Mutant Nation to be like, hey, look at this, they're like winning the public over. I feel like that would have been a little more of something. And the reason that I'm harping on it so much is because there hasn't been a great source of conflict in this book from the external side of things. Like the Turtles are kind of just nebulously disliked. And so then the fact that the resolution of the book is them being just very explicitly liked, I think really didn't work for
Yeah,
me.
I'll push back. So I'm not going to say nebulously because they do a big setup of Hale basically turning public opinion and framing them and all. Like there's a
I'm
lot.
okay, yeah, but I mean, like the conflict of the book is that the turtles are, not liked. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah. No,
anti-mutant
I just want to put
sentiments.
that out there
Yeah,
because you kind of made it sound like the book didn't do any setup for
very
ending. Just like, oh, New
fair
York.
enough. I think I was trying to soften it so as to
Yeah,
not hit the point so hard. Where okay, yeah, the conflict of the book is that public opinion has been turned against the turtles,
yeah,
and then the resolution of the book is without like any sort of action from the turtles, that just turns on its head.
yeah. I
So
feel
the
like
fact that this,
to me this issue read like Jason Aaron's run ended before expected. Like
I
that was
agree.
my
I
opinion. This
100% agree.
issue feels like it was a bit of like, well, we have to get to where we were going, and so we're gonna do kind of a lot of swinging where maybe there was gonna be set, especially because like the April is Casey thing is basically just like completely
So
dropped.
glossed over.
Yeah, so I was like, it definitely feels like this was supposed to be a bit longer, and now we're kind of putting our puzzle pieces back for
Yeah.
our next team.
She even just mentions offhand that Casey's out of his coma.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
like,
but
but
we
he
announced the
is?
Casey Jones book, and that's coming soon, so he's got to be Casey again. So she can't be Casey anymore. So
Yeah, it
um,
was. I agree with you that I think the reason that a lot of these things feel very rushed in it, and the reason that I feel that whiplash feeling, is because the run is. Because I think we know that the run is coming to us end sooner than expected,
it ends.
right?
We don't know that. We just know that it's ending at 12.
Okay.
We don't know that, but they
Oh,
did
I guess we were just
explicitly,
theorizing that it was going to be
yeah,
a longer run from Jason
yeah.
Aaron since
Especially
he
Jason Aaron
did.
tends to do long runs,
Yeah.
and they explicitly have stated the reason that are doing the annual like in a gap month, and then the regular book starting up like another gap month after that is because they need to buy time until the new run is starting up. You don't usually need
Yeah.
to buy time for a new run to start up if
Exactly,
the
yeah. So
last run
without explicit
ended when it was started.
confirmation,
Yeah.
it's kind of apparent that the run is ending prematurely.
Yes.
And you can really feel that in this
Yeah.
issue to me.
I do want to throw though. I think there's several good things in here, but my favorite thing, without spoilers to how it actually happens or anything specifics with it, is that we do finally get Karai. In the main,
Yes. Dude,
and
Karai's the
it was
best part
amazing.
of every Turtles book I've ever read.
Yes, Karai's amazing. This is a known fact. But I can't remember. We might have seen her in Hale's issue briefly, but I don't know if we've seen her in the main run at all, unless it was briefly in that. But Bebop and Rocksteady have been like protecting her
Yeah.
door, which also their interaction with Hale was amazing,
So good.
so well written. I actually like. It bothers me because they've been like cooped up in there, protecting Karai. I feel like Jason Aaron writes Bebop and Rocksteady so well, and it like annoys me that they've been like locked up in this. No.
Jason Aaron is good at writing a meathead.
So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like that interaction was amazing. The fact that the skeletons were still fucking there was
Insane.
great. So all of that was great, and then I don't want to spoil what ends up happening because I love that resolution like
Yes,
as like a thing.
same.
Right? But every single moment that Karai was on the page, I was like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" I will say, it did make me go a little bit like, and it's a little bit because I did love the first issue so much. It did make me go, "Do we really need to do a Shredder book right now? Like, do we really need to bring Shredder back right now?" Because it feels like that's not
That's
necessary.
right, he's doing his own thing.
With what's going on there, which is why I couched it with that's really good, and it is its own. So I don't feel as, but it's like it's very interesting that these things have happened like in the same month. The first Shredder book happened at the same time that Karai is,
revealed.
even if you just read like the Mutination Karai arc, like where Karai has kind of ended up in her arc. It feels like a weird time to be bringing Shredder back, and if you check our interview, Dan Waters mentions kind of trying to turn Shredder back into traditional
classic Shredder.
So if that's the goal, it feels like a weird place for Karai to be. If Shredder's so that's like that. But independently, I love both. I'm just saying that together, it's a little bit of a weird thing to me.
It has implications for the universe as a whole. What?
Juan Ferrer's artwork in that sequence
So
Holy shit,
gorgeous.
it was so good.
So
Oh,
good.
they also have that great. I want to throw out the turtles page. Yeah,
Yeah, I showed that while you were reading the teams. So good.
that
I
Liam.
also thought it was really, really cute when the turtles were like getting ready for combat and they're like, "Oh, we don't have any weapons." And the little resolution they have to that, I thought I
Let's
was
look at the
delighted by that.
evidence.
Yeah. I thought that was super fun. So like
Yeah,
it's a book that had a lot of really fun moments. It just unfortunately it feels like it should be towards the end of a much longer series.
yeah. It feels like there should have been some stuff. Even like the weird thing is, I don't even think that we're missing anything with the turtles. To me, it feels like we're missing like an issue or two that like bottle issue or two with April. Like I feel like that's because she
Definitely
comes in with
agree.
the civil. I was like, I feel like we were supposed to get an April essentially one shot issue where she was like Casey and like helped turn public opinion. Like it feels like that was supposed to happen and didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
also felt like that, but that was
fully
where I
agree.
was after. I was like, huh. Feels like with them being like locked up and on trial and them setting up her to be Casey, like I don't know. Full speculation. But
Full speculation. But yeah, how do y'all feel about the conclusion upcoming for Jason Aaron's run on
here we got
Turtles?
one
Have
more
you
issue.
liked what he's done with the characters? Or are you excited to move on to other pastures? I won't say greener, because we have liked his turtles.
And the turtles are always green, so you know.
Anyway, we're going to go talk about White House Robot Romance. White House Robot Romance #1. This comes to us from writer Chip Zdarsky of Daredevil, Batman, and Howard the Duck. The artist is Rachel Slott of Doctor Who, Fantastic Four, and Public Domain. The colorist is Tamara Bonvillian, and the letterer is Ariana Mayer. And Jay, we are having our first delve into Distillery, a notable publisher for a few reasons, but one of the biggest being how big their books are. They have a completely different comic profile from
Yep.
standard.
They do these big magazine sized issues.
Yeah.
They do usually they're longer and more expensive. So yeah, it's something different reading experience. I think this is a 2-issue series, which is like a also a weird
Wild.
thing to do, but it's actually basically normal because it would be the length of a 4-issue series,
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about White House Robot Romance, a book that was intriguing enough to draw us into Distillery. I think after we were like,
Oh
this
yeah.
is really expensive. We don't really want to
Because
do
we've
those.
considered a couple of Distillery books, and we're
Yeah,
like,
but one, they're expensive. Two, they're extra long to read when you're reading like a list of books to review. So we've always kind of stayed away. But this one drew us in, and I feel like reading it is just as intriguing as the premise laid out. Interestingly, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I didn't find myself super interested in most of the like human plots, but I was
fully
very
agree.
interested in these
In the
romance.
White House Robot Romance.
Yeah, the White House Robot Romance is very good. It's just really, really great. And honestly, I don't want to spoil. This is very late in the book, but we kind of have like a human factor involved with what the robots
Yes.
are going on.
Yeah.
And I was a little disappointed. I thought because I liked the idea of the chef kind of getting there on their own volition more. And I was like, oh, that's a little bit upsetting to me. But I love them. I love their designs. I love their interactions and the way that they kind of like
Oh my
slowly
god.
become more and more human or like personal throughout the book. I love there is a great setup and payoff that like you really don't quite
I
see.
almost wept.
It was amazing.
It
It
was
is one of
so
the like
sweet.
best slight setups to really important payoffs that you could do. It was so ridiculously good. That sequence, once we get like the first big action sequence with the two of them, was awesome and rad, and I loved it, and I loved the way that it played on because they also do such a good job of establishing the robot rules in a way that doesn't feel like they're expositing at you, and then playing within those rules in really interesting ways, which is amazing. So yeah, everything around the robots is so good. I'm not super interested in like the politics and human characters and like the world stuff that's going on, but the two of them, I love them. It's great. It's awesome.
Right? And because my big complaint with this book is that it's oversized in multiple ways. So like it did feel like it had a little too much runway for the content of the book. I feel like a lot of the human stuff I like you're saying, I wasn't as invested in. So I'm like, I could have used some trimmed fat. I
Agreed.
absolutely adored the characterization of the robots. I think that their story is so fun. It's so primo. It's so like almost absurd in a way that's like really heartfelt.
Absurd. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's fair. It's fairly absurd.
it's fairly absurd. But they wrap it in so much heart and so much like
Oh,
genuine
absolutely.
connection between them that it's like there is no part of me that reads it as absurd until I
Oh,
look at the cover, which is phenomenal.
so good.
But I do think that for the majority of this book, this is not a book that really benefited from the like big layout. Like if
No,
I
it
think
didn't
of
feel
what
like
would
the
work
actual
here,
size
it's
of this book mattered at all.
yeah.
Uh,
Um and I feel like it was almost to its detriment. Because this is an issue. We've talked about this with other series where it's like this is largely like a talking issue. Like there's a little bit of
yeah,
action when they
yeah.
have
I
their
really
their
like
big
that.
kind of
I
me
thought it was
too.
very.
I think that it was so well done, but it I would have preferred it in like a floppy format.
Yeah,
Like I
I
think that the form of it was actually distracting to me.
yeah, I think that's one of the issues with Distillery of like, I like the idea of a publisher that's like, well, kind of arbitrary the size that comic books are,
Yeah.
which it kind of is. So I like the view of being as a publisher, like, hey, if you think that your book would work better in a different format, do that. Like, make it a
And
different
like with a
size.
lot of
But
their
when you make
early
your
stuff,
publisher this different size, you're just in a new arbitrary that people aren't used to, which is
exactly. And like I think that part of my admiration for Distillery at first was that they were all beautiful books. And like I really liked Rachel Stott's art here, but in a talking issue, it's not about the beautiful book, right? Like it's about the
and like the book's
characterization.
absurd, but it's not like experimental. Like it's a very normal
Exactly.
story structured book. And when you get like these big, like you expect, like they tend to work better for like weird experimental artsy books, which is not really what this is.
Yeah.
Nor is it what this should be. But
Right. Yeah. So it's something that I feel compelled to bring up because this is like
yeah,
finally the book that had us break into Distillery because I own a few Distillery books. Like I read a bunch of Somna, a bunch of like three.
I
I think
may
it's
have
two or
bought the
three
first
issues.
issue of some. I know I bought the first issue of one of them. I think it might have been
Yeah.
some. Uh,
And these are like these books that have really striking visuals. And again, I really like Rachel Starr's art. It's just not supposed to be like this, big, like you're saying, experimental book.
yeah.
But outside of that, and outside of the fact that one of my pages came already falling out,
Oh,
which I
oh.
think also made me a little grumpy. I'm like, this expensive ass book. If this was a
No,
floppy, this wouldn't be
that would,
happening.
especially if it's like it's square bound. Like you would expect that kind of even less with
Well,
this,
because with this, they're all stapled together. Where are they going? They're all one sheet.
Well, the staples can rip or pull or open
For sure,
very
for sure.
easily.
Um, but yeah, there was just I think that I had this expectation of Distillery where I'm like, this is supposed to be like, the kind of artist publisher.
Yeah,
And again, I'm not saying that I really like the character designs, the way that the action scene plays out towards the end, really amazing stuff, but it's just not the same vibe as what I have like come to associate with Distillery, which maybe
yeah.
is a skill issue. Um, but
Uh,
my problem is that other than that, I absolutely adored this book. So it feels like if the book was just a little smaller, it would be so much tighter and it wouldn't have all of the parts that I didn't love in it.
yeah, I agree with you. There's a character who, because of the ending, you realize like, oh, they're really important, and this is why they wanted to like establish this character for us
Yeah.
early on. But their sequences mattered not at all throughout this book, except to like make a few points about like AI art, which like I get it. You're artists, creators. We all don't like AI art, so like.
But it's alright, we already had that this week.
Yeah. So like, but like, it didn't add anything to the actual story of the book, and I just kept being like, why are we spending time with this character that doesn't matter? And then
Yeah.
obviously, like, it's not like those sequences end up mattering when you realize the character matters. It's just like, oh, the character matters, and this is why we wanted you to see the character.
Exactly.
So yeah, human stuff, not great. Robot stuff, amazing, phenomenal.
Really, really great.
Such a good concept, really well executed. I'm very excited. We're gonna read the second. I obviously gonna read the second issue and finish it. But yeah, fun times.
Fun times, fun times. But speaking of fun times, it's time for the most fun time of the podcast. Jay, are you prepared with your pull list?
Yeah, I'm very prepared this week. I actually have a very.
I feel like we're twinsies then, because I feel like I'm also very prepared this week. Should we do it on the count of 3?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Sisterhood! A Hyde Street story. That's a double pull list rec, which does mean legally you do have to go and buy Sisterhood, A Hyde Street story number 3. I would recommend buying the first 2 as well.
Yes, you got to.
You've gotta.
But if anything else sounded interesting to you in our reviews, you should pick that up as well. As well as if there's anything you want to hear us talk about in the future, any series that you're really enjoying, let us know, and we will add it to our poll list if you comment.
Yes.
But yeah, Katie, we have more things. This is actually going to be a double bonus episode week.
It sure is. So right now on the channel, you can scroll back to the last weekend and this past weekend and find our tier list of the
main episodes now on the weekend. Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, you're so right. This week we posted a bonus episode where we made a tier list of the books released by the Image founders. Their book through Image that really started the building blocks of the iconic publisher.
You guys seem to really enjoy that, so
yeah,
thank you. I was not expecting it to do it as well as it has done, but apparently people like the Image stuff. So if there's other Image stuff you want, let us know.
People liked it. Did Jay and I like it? We had thoughts on it.
We like some of them.
We like some of them. But that is not the only tier list you're getting from us right now, because we are putting up a bonus tier list this week. For Batman Day, we'll be doing a tier list of all of the most iconic Batman costumes. So make sure you let us know what costumes you think should make the cut. It's gonna be a wild one. But Jay, what's our other bonus episode this week?
Yes, it is once again time for our Absolute Universe video. We're doing month 11, which means that our first ever channel giveaway is coming to an end. So this is your final chance to go back to the Absolute Month 10 video, comment on that video, and then go to our other Absolute videos if you want to rack up even more entries for that Absolute Batman Issue 1 first print right there. It's your last chance. Subscribe to the channel and watch that month 10 video for the instructions on how to enter. You can enter up to 10 times if you comment on all of our Absolute videos.
Crazy.
Right now, if you did that, you would actually have like a 45% chance of winning, something like that. So,
which is pretty darn good. I don't trust his math, but that sounds right.
It might actually be even better. I just did a quick guess as to how many entries I think we currently have. But yeah. That's
go do
everything. Oh no, we have books for next week. Obviously,
we have books for next week. Jay, what are our books for next week?
Yes, we're gonna be reading the start of the final arc of Batman Dark Patterns with issue 10 after the phenomenal ending of the last arc.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing Blood and Thunder issue 5 after our little bottle issue last issue, but we might still be in that bottle because there was a little bit of a cliffhanger in the bottle last issue. We're continuing with Captain America by Chip Zdarsky, who obviously had a book that we did earlier today, but has been a surprise hit for us, so we're going to continue with Captain America. Mm-hmm. Issue 2 of the new Kai Sai era Godzilla book, which was also a surprise hit for us, will be continued as well. We're doing the first issue of Racer X for the surprise hit Speed Racer series.
I'm starting to think we might be a little too negative.
These are just characters that we haven't read before. It's a week of a lot of characters that we had not read before this week.
Yes.
Before these series. Not specifically.
That's right.
And then
we're trying another new series. Maybe it'll surprise us and be a hit.
Yes, it's called It Killed Everyone But Me. by Ryan Parrott, who
Yeah,
we read Rogue Sun from during
yeah.
our Massiverse series. Also on
Go
the channel.
check that out too. But that's all we've got for you. Keep an eye out for more content coming on the channel. Be sure to roll back to get your giveaway of Absolute Batman #1.
Subscribe
And
if you want. Gotta subscribe. Do it right now. I'm what? Did you do it?
he's gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you. Do it. Yes. But as always, we hope to see you next week. Comic Geeks.